key things that you guys needed to focus on?
Yeah, we got after it today. We got up and down a little bit. Started. It was the first time in a while we've been able to play 5-on-5 and get up and down. But I think we addressed. Transition defense was the first focal point we hit on. Rebounding, something we've got to continue, to get better at as a unit, especially when we go small ball lineups. We hit that a bit. We watched the film, so it was a good session. Got a lot covered. I think it's easy for us to, get ahead of ourselves now. We've been playing good basketball, but, got to continue to take it one day at a time. We've got a good team coming in tomorrow night, so got to get ready for them, and, we'll be ready.
As a guard that rebounds, what have you thought about the way that J-Dub has rebounded the ball lately? Seemed like he's gotten some physical, emphatic ones.
He's been great. As I said, when we go small, we have to, us guards have to be in there helping the big guys out. Usually we're going to be undersized, in the 5 position. But down the line, 1 through 4, I think we've got a pretty big, lineup. We've got a lot of guys, 6'6" and above. So we've got good size, 1 through 4. But when we go to small ball 5, me, J-Dub, Lou, us other guards have to be in there helping out. And he's done a great job of that. Defensively, offensively, he continues to get it. And when he does, he pushes the ball in fast breaks, gets out in transition. So he's been great in that area, and, we're going to continue to need that.
Josh, you guys have put together some really strong fourth quarters over the past few games, just holding teams off as they try to make runs and finishing strong. How big of an emphasis has that been for you guys, and what does that say that you guys have been able to do that recently?
Yeah, it's been a big part of it, obviously. These teams that have played in a lot of late game situations, like the teams we played against, they got experienced guys, guys that know how to handle the ball down the stretch, and we've done a great job. For a young team to be able to handle ourselves and step up to the challenge when we've been up a lot, teams come back, got in front, and to be able to respond, stand up, and take the game back in control has been big for us. And the more of these situations that we're in, the better we're going to get. But we're starting to see improvements in that area. But we've played 4 really tough teams in that road trip, and I think handled ourselves, for 90% of those games down the stretch really well. So continue to learn from that, watch film, and we'll get better at that.
I know the offense has obviously been strong in those fourth quarters, but defensively, what stands out to you about how you're able to kind of execute even when the game kind of takes on a different tone in that fourth quarter?
Yeah, I think that's when we're at our best. Fourth quarter defense has been great lately. I think we're all on a string. We're connected 1 through 5, communicating. A lot of the time teams are trying to get the matchup they want, whether that's me or Isaiah or whoever's out there. And we've done a great job of kind of showing, getting our main guys back on the ball. The guys behind the ball have been engaged, so we've been really locked in on that end, and it goes a big way to winning games against really good teams like we just beat.
You guys are getting a lot more attention from fans, outside media, everybody. But you guys have a 0-0 mindset. How tough is that as a player to keep that mindset, especially after a road trip like this?
Yeah, it can be tough. The group we've got understands where we're at and what we're trying to do, and you take it one day at a time. You wake up tomorrow and you forget about the previous road trip we just had, the previous game we just won, and get ready for Indiana. So it is easy to get ahead of ourselves. We've been playing really good, beat some really good teams. But as I said, we've got to put that in the back of our minds and get ready for the next one.
And then a lot was made of you and Shai's minutes being staggered, but you guys are doing a great job of that, playing together lately. But how much of the time with you on the court, with him off the court, was that you needing to figure out who you are as an NBA player?
Yeah, it's obviously different to when we're both on the court together, one's off, one's on, but continuing to learn how to play together, and I think the last few weeks has gotten really good. We both feel it, and it feels like that on the floor where it's not his turn, my turn. We're learning to play in sync, off one another. So. But it's not just about us two. There's other guys on the floor that have been really good for us lately. Continue to wins, but obviously when he's off the floor, I'm going to have the ball a little bit more, running that second unit. So it's good, but obviously love playing off him, love playing alongside him, and I think that chemistry is continuing to get better.
Do you look at the standings every day?
I'd be lying if I said I didn't. I do check it here and there, but as I said, there's still such a long way to go in the season, and the West is a really good conference, so a lot of things can happen, but we'll continue to take it one game at a time and see where we end up after 82 games.
One of the prevailing theories about you is that you're going to be a good player, you are a good player, but people don't know exactly what you're going to be 5 years from now.
Yeah,
Do you have an idea what you're going to be 5 years from now?
No idea. I couldn't tell you what I'm going to be in a few games from now. So such a young player and in such a young team, development is never linear. It's always going to fluctuate, and especially with me, I've seen it. I started the year off slow, picked it up recently, but as a young player, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. It's just, understanding that nothing's as bad as it seems, nothing's as good as it seems. So in 5 years, I have no idea where I'll be. So we'll keep taking it one day at a time, keep getting better every day, and we'll see where that ends up.
As a Japanese media, I want to ask you about Yuta Watanabe on the Nets.
Yeah.
He did a good job guarding Shea on that game. What do you think of his defensive play that game?
He was great. I mean, obviously, I think he leads the league in three-point percentage, so we knew that coming in, that he was a hot shooter. We had to be aware of him, at all times on that end of the floor. And I think defensively, he brought it. He brought that energy, intensity that Brooklyn needed. I mean, obviously, covering Shea is tough for anybody in the league, but I thought he did a good job. Not just him, but it was a team effort. But yeah, he was great. Obviously, shoots lights out the ball, so he's been good for them this year.
And also I don't know if you remember Yudai Baba.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you remember about him?
Yeah, I remember I played against him in my first professional season in Adelaide. He was with Melbourne. And I remember he was, energetic, defensively, picked me up full court, got into the ball. So he was a nightmare to play against. I know how much the guys on Melbourne love playing with him, but he was a great player for them. And I've watched his career from afar, obviously, in the G League now. But he was great when I got to play against him.
I'm going to go see him this weekend. So
Awesome. Okay.
yeah, I'm going to tell him about that.
Cool.
Can you disclose what you put in your hair? Because sometimes when you jump, it doesn't move.
Yeah, it's a product from Australia. Actually, had somebody asked me this the other day. It's something from Australia. I forget the name of it, but I've been using it for years. So I get it shipped over every once in a while. But I keep a lot on standby because I run out quick.
And then what's your favorite pair of Kobe's are playing?
Any Kobe 4, 5, or 6. They're my favorites. I mean, they're getting harder to get now as they become more exclusive. But I've had a lot of pairs stashed up over the years, so I should be good for a while.
Brought these out. Are these an old pair? You've been wearing a lot of 6s.
Yeah, I have. I have a lot of pairs here, a lot of pairs at the arena, a lot of pairs at home that I kind of rotate through. But I practice in these quite often. They're comfortable shoes. So, Kobe's obviously the only shoe I've ever played in.
Yeah, I mean, we just had to ground back into our day-to-day process. We haven't been in the building in a week. And obviously we had a successful trip, but just like you got to flush losses, you got to flush the wins and just get back into the day. I thought the guys did a good job of that. Everybody got a lift. We got a good practice in, got a good film session in, and hopefully ready to play tomorrow.
Yeah, with Indiana, they're reeling a little bit right now. I know they're shorthanded. What are you kind of seeing from them that you're going to have to be highly aware of?
I haven't watched them a lot yet, but just from what the assistants are saying, like a lot of pace. They're a really, really potent offensive team. They've got good shooting everywhere. They play with a loose confidence in a good way that, they can put a lot of points up if you're not on point. So we've got to start the game really well against them. And they are going to require a 48-minute effort.
You guys have been really strong in the fourth quarters over the past few games or so. Just what have you thought of kind of the execution and kind of those closing minutes and when the game's on the line like that?
I mean, we've really had to put together good fourths. We had to hold off Philly and Chicago in those two games, and then the Brooklyn game we were down 5 at the end of the third. I thought the group at the end of the third stabilized the game well for us, and then the group to start the fourth in particular in both the Chicago and the Brooklyn games, that group really, gave us a lift and bridged us to the end of the game. And so guys did a great job. Those units have played really well.
Is there anything specific on the defensive end in terms of execution that has helped you and be able to kind of like hold teams off in those moments?
A lot of it comes down to your coverage execution because the game is usually slower paced in the fourth quarter, and teams become way more focused on getting their best guys the ball. And so the combination of the slower pace and the fact that the head of the snake is going to have the ball, Irving, Levine, whoever it is, Embiid and Harden, you've got to really execute your stuff, and the guys have done a really good job of that lately.
In terms of having a 0-0 mindset, how tough is that to do when you guys have a 3-game win streak like you did?
I mean, it's always a test. There's never a time where you have it solved because there's always another opportunity and another game. So we try to hone it no matter what's happening. We had a winning streak earlier in the season that we had to take it, forward in. We had the back-to-back Boston, Orlando, where I didn't think we did a great job of that. We had the back-to-back Philly, Chicago, where we did. So we need to just learn from those. And, at the end of the day, that's the law of competition. You just got to come in and earn the game that's in front of you. And if you don't do that, the other team's going to beat you.
How does it feel to be in a playoff race?
I don't think we're there right now. It's early, it's mid-season. Obviously, we're there in the standings, but mentally, we're just trying to stack days right now, and there's a lot of season left. So we got into the position we're in because we've just kind of kept our head down, and that's exactly what we're going to continue to do.
Jay Will has really kind of made the most of his opportunity on that road trip. What's been the key for him kind of stepping up there?
Well, we've got injuries to our front court, and he's kind of the only remaining true front court player. And so in the situations of games where it requires a true center, Philly's a good example with Embiid. Like you can't cover him 48 minutes small. You can get away with it for parts of the game, but we really needed him in that one. So some of it's circumstantial and him being ready for the opportunity, and he's done a good job of just kind of keeping his head down, executing the coverages, playing inside the team, being ready when his number's called. We're obviously fluid with the starting lineup and how we use him, but he's shown good maturity so far.
For his progression, how important is it to go up against a guy like Embiid and get that experience when it would seem intimidating for a lot of rookies?
Yeah, I mean, he's, the combination of size and physicality, he's got the best profile on the team in terms of that total package, the physical profile. And so the Embiids of the world, the Jokic's of the world, the guys that are just, loads to manage, you can downsize against them at times, but it's a luxury to have somebody that, can also stand in there with them, and he does that.
As a Japanese media, I'd like to ask you about Yuta Watanabe on the Sunday game. So his primary role defensively was guarding Shea and denying him, and so that he couldn't do much. And then I thought he did a good job on that end. And then offensively, he's known as a three-point shooter this season, and I guess he didn't do great. So you guys did a good job on that end. So what did you think of his game on defensively and offensively, and also what do you think of him as a player in general?
Yeah, we had him I was the G League coach, and he was like a second round type guy, and so we spent some time with him in the draft process. I think he was defensive player of the year in the A10, is that right, in college? So like he was a really good defensive player back then. He's got great length, and he's an intelligent player. And then offensively, I give him a lot of credit for how he's improved his shooting, because he didn't shoot it like this coming out of school. So clearly he's put a lot of work in and really found himself. And in the little time I've spent with him, he's one of the guys that's easy to root for. So I'm happy to see the success that he's having.
Do you have a game plan against him? Because he didn't shoot three-point.
The game plan's kind of downstream of the heads of their snakes. It's more about Irving and then firing out to all their shooters. They have Harris. Harris missed some open ones late. We got lucky there. But O'Neal's shot it well this year. Seth Curry's obviously a great shooter. Watanabe's a great shooter. So, that was the game plan.
Did Usman play tomorrow night?
No, he's not going to play tomorrow night.
Mark, you said it's still early. When does it become late? Is that 60 games, 70 games?
In terms of
the season?
That's a good question. I've never thought about that. It still feels early, so I'm just going to lean on that. I guess as you get past All-Star break, things start to crystallize a little bit more in terms of where you're at in the standings and the way that things are going to shake out. But, like I said, right now we're feeling pretty good about our process and the way we're attacking every day, and we're just not going to pick our head up from that.
Listen to a lot of good music on there.
When I'm in New York, it's like hard and heavy Springsteen, because Springsteen's it's like a New York feel. So I didn't deviate very much from that on this trip.
We're right by 10th Avenue.
Yeah, we crossed over 10th Avenue. Don't think I didn't notice that.